And then what did it say? It said hold for at least 5 days. Let's see how smart this is. Hold for at least. Certainly, here's an example of how you can modify the code to hold the BTC for 5 days. Okay, look at this. And now they import time. So I'm going to import that one as well. And this is pretty amazing because it's like talking to an engineer, right? So first time through, they're like, hey, you could do it this way, but I actually didn't write the code. Second time through, I asked them to figure out the key situation. And look at this. Look at my API key. Like I've done this in the past by hand. It goes and looks through the docs and figures out how to do that. So this is quite impressive. And then look at this right here. It went ahead and now updated the function to say hold for 5 days. So off the top, like my first description here, it didn't do it perfectly, but then after I talked to it a little bit and added some feedback, it went ahead and built a pretty solid algorithm. Now, is this an algo that's gonna be profitable? Probably not, but it's a really great example of how ChatGPT and OpenAI, you know, this is pretty amazing. As a developer, like, now I can throw an idea into the OpenAI and it can kind of like guide me along the way. Is it perfect? Well, we're still yet to see if this works, but let's just keep on moving here. And I think it's saving a lot of time. So let's paste that in. So as you can see, we have all of this set up already. Import pandas as PD. I've already imported time. Scroll down here because this is more of an updated one. Let's make sure this is the same. Let's go ahead and print the SMA. Print just to kind of test it. Now this is like the first official test. We're seeing if the SMA is correct, and let's also print. Let's do an F string here and say this is the symbol current price, and then put in the price here and SMA 20, and we'll put in the SMA 20. I feel like this is a pretty solid test because, you know, especially if you're new to algo trading, this would take a little bit of time to figure out. You probably have to Google it. And I think that's one of the best use cases thus far with OpenAI and ChatGPT-3 is it just helps you with Googling. And it writes out the code for you. So you could Google and go to Stack Overflow and figure out all this stuff. But now you don't have to do that. You just get an idea back. Like instead of having to like piece together 12 different tabs on Google, right, and try to figure out which is which and what works best for this scenario, now OpenAI allows you to just type in what you need and then it gives you an answer. So that's going to be a game changer in my opinion. So let's go ahead and see if this works. This is the first test we're giving it, using pretty much all the code, you know, with a couple of tweaks, just bringing in my API keys and whatnot, using all the code that has been suggested by OpenAI. And the first test is, can it show us the symbol, can it show us the current price, and can it show us the SMA 20? You know what? Let's go ahead and run it. I could have even said, hey, show me that. Okay, so look at this. It says the symbol does not exist. CMEX does not have market symbol BTC USD. So the above, I'm just gonna paste this in and see what happens. And now this is just testing with you. CMEX does not have the market symbol BTC USD. Please correct that in the above code. Let's see what happens here. I know what the market symbol is, but let's see if OpenAI does. So the way I look at this is I don't think immediately it's gonna remove remove the need for developers like you and I, or maybe just I, and if you're learning this, you eventually. But I think as a developer, this is gonna speed things up a lot. And obviously, I'm just showing you the front end right now, which is ChatGPT-3. But you can use the OpenAI APIs in order to try a bunch of different stuff. Let's see if it has the USDT, because that's essentially what it said. It says, hey, I'm changing to USD to USDT. Let's see if that works. Okay, there we go. So this is BTC USDT. Current price is this. The SMA 20 is this. Maybe because there's not enough data. And that's right, because this just gets the price. So while the code looks pretty good, I don't know, because you can't really get a rolling window of the mean. You can't get a mean off of one price. So let's say instead of just calculating price for one period in the above code, use a pandas data frame to get open, high, low, close volume data. So it's easier to create the SMA 20 and 40. Okay, so look at that. The code looks good, but is it actually good? I don't know. Thus far, like, I've had to tell it a couple things. That being said, it does give me some good ideas at least. So certainly to use a pandas data frame to retrieve open, high, low, close volume data from Phoenix and calculate the 20 and 40 simple moving averages, you can use the following code. So let's go ahead and see if they use the code the way I would do it. The way I would do it is I would get a data frame and fill it up with all the data, right? And instead, they went ahead, the AI went ahead and said, hey, we're just getting the current price. But then you can't make the SMA off of just the current price, right? You need like multiple prices. You need the price for the last 20 periods. And I can already see here, like, okay, this is great that they got the last 20 periods, but edit the above code to get the last 200 periods of data instead of the last 20 periods. So thus far, it looks like we have to work together, right? So is OpenAI going to make it possible for you to not know how to code? Maybe, but you have to be able to at least know the high levels of coding, right? So like, for example, I knew there that, hey, you can't make a SMA, because SMA is the rolling average. You can't do that off of one price period. You need at least 20 price periods. So I asked it to do that, and it did it. It said, hey, open, high, low, close volume data is here. But it only made it for 20 periods. So I'm just gonna say, hey, edit the above code to get the last 200 periods instead of the last 20 periods. And I could probably just do that myself really quickly, because it seems like it writes out all of the code over and over again, which, is that the best thing to do? I don't know. I feel like they're gonna cut me off at some point and not let me use this, because I feel like I'm using a lot of credits. But whatever, I'm gonna run it and see if it changes this. All I need this to be changed to is 200 instead of 20. Now, because that's like 200 lines of data opposed to 20 lines of data, so my 40 SMA is gonna work much better. Because right here, it won't get an SMA for the 40 because there's only 20 lines of data. So I'm just gonna have it run again, and they'll probably eventually cut me off because this is a lot of different code I'm running. But, thus far, my analysis is, is super helpful, probably for things that you don't understand. Right now, I know how to do this, and look at that, I just got a network error. So it looks like I'm just pushing it too hard. So let's go ahead and regenerate Response, only one message at a time. Please allow any other responses to complete before sending. So maybe this is the end of my use of ChatGPT. I'm gonna hit refresh. Actually, I'm gonna take all this code before I hit refresh just in case, because this is pretty good code and I can use it. Let's go ahead and now hit refresh. Let's go back here. Regenerate response. Okay, maybe that's all it took. Perfect. I've heard that the cost of running OpenAI and ChatGPT are really mind-boggling. That's at least what the founder Sam says. So I can imagine when I run harder things like this, not just like some, I don't know. I wonder if this takes more credits than, generating like a paper or something. But now it's gonna update it for the 200 periods, and I'm gonna run its next test here off of this. Now we know this test right here didn't work because it just got one price instead of open, high, low, close volume. Now that's one thing about this is if you're not an experienced coder, like it might be tricky because you wouldn't realize, why didn't this work? Now I've written so many bots and I've taught this so many times that I know that it wouldn't work because there's only one price and you need 20 total prices to get the mean. But if you're new to this, it might be different. Let's call this exchange, since it's doing that. And let's run another test on this after we make these updates. So I'm gonna delete these two lines and we'll go ahead and try this out. So let's start here. It says set the symbol, and then it gets the open, high, low, close volume data. It looks like it gets the limit of 200 now, which is great. It sets the data frame, which looks awesome to me. I mean, first look. And then it gets the rolling mean. So let's go ahead and pull in all of this here and run it. So retrieve open, high, low, close volume data. That looks good to me. Goes to the exchange, fetches the symbol, the time frame, the limit, and then it converts that data to a pandas data frame. One of my favorite parts of this is that even when it does something wrong, it gives you the English steps, right? So like for the case of initializing the exchange, the first time we did this, it didn't put in my keys, but at least it told me the first step, right? So it's, in my opinion, much better than Google at this point. I'm sure Google has something equally, if not better than this, but at this point, it's like a good way to, it's like a pair programmer, somebody to help you out while you're programming, in my opinion. So I'm liking it a lot, and we'll keep testing this out. So we got the open, high, low data, and then we get the mean of the close, and then the current price. What is the current price? Well, I guess we don't have the current price anymore.